Dear Krzysztof, you are at the head of a political phenomenon called Konfederacja. I will say Konfederacja in the Polish way, the Confederation. And you are yourself a sort of political phenomenon because, okay, first of all, you look young, but you have been, you told me backstage, about 20 years ago, the youngest MP elected in the Polish Sejm, the Polish parliament. Since then, many things happened and changed, but your right-wing patriotic movement has grown to such an extent that 2 weeks ago, your candidate for the presidential election, Sławomir Mencen, reached a record high score in the elections, nearly 15%. Now, my first question to you, because I am being asked very often by my Hungarian friends and colleagues, what is this confederation? So, next time they ask me, what should I answer?
Well, first, good morning. It's good to be here. It's good to be in the Patriots family and on this conservative event. When you ask about phenomenon of confederation in Poland, it's clear that Polish voters were looking for many years for an alternative right project, more idealistic, more sovereignty-oriented, more free market-oriented, more conservative or politically incorrect oriented. And our voting base at the beginning in 2019 were young voters. Our phenomenon emerged from the internet, then to some media, and then to mainstream media. And now we are party number one among young voters. We are ahead of the left on female voters. So now more female voters vote us than feminists and leftists on leftist lists and progressive lists. So it's a kind of success which quite surprised even us when in last elections our result just 2 weeks ago doubled, because our last results was like between 1 million and 2 million, and now we have almost 3 million votes in presidential elections. And on this Sunday, second round of presidential elections. Unfortunately, our candidate was third, so now we keep fingers crossed for a conservative candidate in these elections.
Absolutely. I'm obviously going to come back to Sunday, because we really can't have this conversation without mentioning it. But before that, I wanted to ask you a little bit about your approach. How did you perceive the launching of the Patriots for Europe? Because it's a fresh political movement which quickly became the third largest power in the European Parliament. And a couple of your MEPs joined the group. How was it perceived? Is it a sign of hope that this right-wing or patriotic wave is taking over Europe? How do you see it from the Polish perspective?
I think it's a very good thing that we have a Patriots group in European Parliament, a bigger group, which is not so-called far-right group or something, and we are not at this alternative whether to join mainstream center-right or be in an alliance of radical parties. Now we have something which is more idealistic than center-right parties, but still, in my opinion, possibly influential in European politics. Of course, now they try to block any influence of patriots. They try to separate the debate only in some politically correct circle. But in my opinion, it's a matter of time, and after next elections we'll be growing in European Parliament. We will have, it's clear that if European elections would be tomorrow, we would have much more members of European Parliament, and it is impossible to block growing political movement for years. It is possible for 1 or 2 terms, but not constantly. So maybe first time since joining European Union, I start to believe that some change in European politics is possible, not in the wrong direction, but in a good direction. And I hope that we will have the opportunity to build one big conservative group in the future. I know that we are divided. There are some of my colleagues, good colleagues, are in different groups, but I think that we should talk with these people, should cooperate, sometimes informally, sometimes on social level. We should not be divided because of political groups, political camps. We should focus on the agenda, and especially we have the same enemies.
You mentioned that Confederacja was to a large extent gaining popularity via the internet, right? And it's observable if we go look on statistics. For example, when you or Mr. Mencen give an interview in one of the most popular radios in Poland, Radio Z, which is not necessarily Confederacja friendly to say the least, you can see because they are ranking of the most watched, and systematically the two of you are on top. Why is it so? Is it the young people who are interested, and what is bothering them that people want to watch you and listen to what you have to say?
I think it's not about ideas, because it's clear from 2019, when we entered Parliament from our own list, it's clear that we are more conservative than a big part of our voters. So it's not about agenda, it's not about ideas. In my opinion, it's about we are honest, we are directly speaking what we think, we are always open to the debate, focused on details, focused on issue, not hating each other, not politically correct. It's very important. In my opinion, young voters and middle-aged voters in Poland are completely tired with cheap, politically correct talk. Politicians going to interviews and saying nothing, or taking care only about their PR, not focused on anything specific, do not having their own agenda. It could be center-left, centrist, or center-right, but people feel that it's not professional and that these old-type politicians are lazy and incompetent. In my opinion, this is the main factor.
Okay, so now we have to reach the unavoidable topic about the Sunday second round of the presidential election. After the first round, your presidential candidate, Sławomir Mencen, finished third, as we mentioned, and then announced that he is ready to endorse one of the candidates, but not unconditionally. And there are a list of priorities. There is a list of priorities that are absolutely key for both Confederacja representatives and their voters. I have some examples. One of them is the future president has to promise he would not send any Polish citizen to fight on the Ukrainian front. That's just one example. Or that the president will refuse the acceptance of the euro in Poland. Can you give me other examples of key priorities that Karol Nawrocki, the candidate endorsed by Law and Justice, signed actually that he's gonna respect?
Okay, so first, the result of our presidential candidate was surprising for establishment, because, as I said, he doubled our result. It happened during 1 or 2 years. We got 15%, close to 3 million votes. So it's something, but what happened next was even more surprising. He invited both candidates going to the second round to the interviews to his YouTube channel. He said that he will not endorse anybody. He is inviting them to his YouTube channel, and he will make an interview with them, 1 hour and a half, and he will give them his declaration with our 8 principles about sovereignty, international relations, taxes, Ukraine, and so on. And surprisingly, they accepted, because they want this 3 million votes, because polls for them are very like 50-50. Nobody knows who will win. So first time in Polish political life, one politician interviewed another, and every news station broadcasted this live. So it was first most popular stream in the world.
It broke the YouTube record of the most watched.
Yes. Now, when we count the views only on YouTube, it's like 10 million views after a few days. And if we count Also, television, maybe half of the society saw it. And it was the best and most tough interviews these politicians ever had. Because they do all the campaign cherry picking and they go only to journalists that like them. And first time somebody asked them true questions about difficult issues and they had to answer. And it was not easy for them. So even if you don't know Polish, you can find these interviews. It's, in my opinion, very interesting model that politicians show that could be better journalists than true journalists. And then one candidate, a conservative one, proposed by Law and Justice, he signed our declaration, every 8 points. And another liberal, he said that he agree on some issues and he do not agree on another, but he don't want to sign anything. So it's obvious that he do not agree with our agenda. And our candidate made his summary of these interviews, and he said that the decision is in the hand of our voters. He respects their mind and their judgment, but from his perspective, one is completely not interesting from our perspective, and the other is closer. So this is what happened, and in my opinion, it's the most interesting experiment between first and second round in Polish presidential elections that I have ever seen. Still nobody knows who will win, but now the all right-wing leaders united to vote against the liberal candidate. So I hope conservative will win.
So yeah, what would be one or two of the main priorities that were assigned by the conservative candidate that are so important to you and to your voters?
First was about not introducing new taxes and not rising taxes. Then there were some about rejecting climate policy, rejecting any new treaties that reduce our sovereignty and give any new competence, new powers to Brussels and reduce our sovereignty. Then there was about sending troops to Ukraine, that he had to promise that he will never send Polish troops to fight in Russian war in Ukraine. Then we had also about joining NATO by Ukraine. We proposed that we are against this integration of Ukraine with NATO, because from our perspective it means going to war with Russia, which we don't want. So there were many principles, and there were all not. There were details, yes, not cheap talk, not slogans, but things connected with the president's power in Polish constitution. And it was also first time in Poland that somebody in the campaign is talking exactly something connected with president's power, not all debate on everything.
And the last question. We are now in the middle of the legislature of the current Tusk administration. In 2027 or earlier, is a coalition of Law and Justice with Konfederacja out of the question?
Everybody asked this question. Polish, especially mainstream and left-wing oriented journalists get mad when they see the polls, because if you count results of right-wing candidates in first term of Polish presidential elections, it's over 50%, and they start to count that it's even possible to have constitutional majority in next parliament. In my opinion, it's not very realistic, but normal majority is possible. So it's obvious that if some majority is possible, I always answer in media that there is nothing, there is no secret deal between Confederation and Law and Justice. There is no negotiation, but if there is majority, you always have to start negotiations, and we are focused on our agenda, and we will negotiate. So I think everything is possible. We are not focused on any partner for now, but it's obvious that leaders, voters in Poland are tired about this center-left liberal government. After 2 years of Donald Tusk government, no problem was solved, and the quality of this government is completely disaster.
Thank you, Krzysztof.
Thank you very much.